Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about how Spring, a company that's a partner with YouTube, screwed me on the merch, which we'll get into in a bit. And I want to talk about the WWE Netflix documentary series and how, I've seen two of these things on Netflix about, one was about Vince McMahon and now this new one. And it explains so much about how the dumbing down of America has happened, the idiocracy. And, well, let's just start here. And so we'll get into all that other stuff in a moment.
Starting Monday, the Jeffrey Epstein estate will begin handing over documents to the House Oversight Committee, and bipartisan staffers will get a look at unredacted versions of Epstein's Black Book and Birthday Book. But as they continue to seek interviews with key figures who may have played a role in the investigation, a new claim is emerging on Donald Trump's role.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
Holy shit. So, Donald Trump has already said why he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He said over and over it's a hoax. And he knew him for 20 years and said Jeffrey Epstein liked young girls. I mean, the evidence that Trump knew is, it's not the evidence that would get him convicted, but it's enough evidence that everybody should know that he knew, that he was complicit, that he was, he knew Jeffrey Epstein was into young girls, because Trump was into young girls. Like, Trump has admitted shit. Like, what Trump did was when he went to the dressing room to inspect the beauty contestants, the young girls who were in these beauty contestants when they were half naked, and Trump admitted to them being naked and undressing in their dressing room on Howard Stern. And then there's all these reports from the girls and other people that he did this. He said he got to because he owned the pageant. This creepy motherfucker, right? And when he went in and did that, that's a crime. That's that's sexual abuse, and it's just, crime. Like, you should go to jail, be sued, whatever. Like, this is a crime that he committed, aside from Jeffrey Epstein. So they were both into young girls, right? And Trump knew for 20 years. And then when they were started to poach people from Mar-a-Lago, hire people out from Mar-a-Lago, he fired. I mean, he said he got rid of Jeffrey Epstein, but it wasn't until 2 years later. So he probably lied about that. So whatever reason, that there seemed to be like there was a real estate deal that Jeffrey Epstein and Trump were both vying for in Florida. And I don't know who won it, but that caused a division in their relationship. And that was what caused it, not any of these other things. But he certainly wasn't an FBI informant. I mean, this fucking clown. But he can say it because people are so fucking stupid. And the people who watch Fox News, will buy into this thing because they don't get information from anybody else, right? They don't get any kind of, information from any other sources that aren't on Fox News or aren't Trump people. So they don't hear anything that they like this. They don't hear anything like the stuff I'm saying here. They don't see any of this stuff because they don't want to see it. And when they wanted to see it, they just dismiss it because the WWFing of the country. And so I just studied, right? And so let me switch over to voiceover. I want to talk about all these things, why this can happen. I mean, the guy just fucking claimed he was an FBI informant here.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that because here with me in studio.
So let me see if I can find the full bit there. That guy's on CNN, the guy who was interviewing him. Okay, so this is kind of worse than when you do the extended version. He's talking here for about 5 minutes about Epstein. He's such a slippery motherfucker, this guy.
Remember, they represent as many as 1,000 other women, most of whom are not comfortable coming forward. So what we have to make sure to do, I'm a lawyer, I understand our responsibility and I understand the nuances of this. The details matter in how you do this. You have to protect the innocent victims who do not want to come out and stand behind the microphones. And I think the women who spoke yesterday clearly understand that. They told me that themselves. In fact, I met with them privately before he went into oversight yesterday, and I explained the necessity of that. And every single one of them nodded and said, of course, yes, please do that.
But Trump called it a hoax yesterday.
What Trump is referring to is the hoax that the Democrats are using to try to attack him. He has never said or suggested or implied. I've talked to him about this many times, many times.
It comes
He is
across as
horrified.
calling the whole thing a hoax.
It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago. What he's talking about is the Democrats who are doing this with impure motives. If they cared so much about this, why didn't they do something during the 4 years of the Biden administration when the Biden DOJ had all the records? They didn't say a word about it. Now they're doing it for political purposes. Not everybody, but a lot of them, and that's what the president's frustrated about, and we all are, that they're creating a hoax just like they did with the Russian dossier because they think it's going to somehow be mud thrown on him. It's not. He has no culpability in this thing at all. The president has clean hands. He wants all the records out. He has told me that himself.
Should he meet with the victims? Should he meet with the victims?
I suspect.
Okay, so Trump has never said anything about the victims. He's never said it. Everything this guy just said was bullshit. Like Trump has never said anything other than he thought innocent people were going to get hurt, and he didn't mean the victims. He meant his buddies, his elite buddies, and himself. Really himself, because he didn't give a shit about everybody else. Maybe a little bit more, the people that he's. But this was never about the Democrats. The Democrats were not pushing for this. It was something that came from his base. We all know this, that they, the people that were the most obsessed with Epstein were Republicans who thought he was going to vote for it, and some of his cabinet members who said that Epstein didn't commit suicide. Cash Patel, these people who were in the DOJ. So Cash Patel, Dan Bonagino, who's been silent about this thing, and whatever her name is, the Attorney General Pam Bondi. They all said stuff. They all said, and his son even said it. They were all Epstein people that couldn't wait to get the truth out. Trump was hesitant way back when Fox asked about it. And then when he hesitated and they started to block the release of these documents, and they changed their story, the Democrats pounced. So that's the whole history. Like you said, why didn't they do anything under the Biden administration? Because they didn't care about it. And then it's his base that's like pissed about it more than anybody else. So everyone knows that. Like it's like silly. It's silly to say that, but you can say that when you live in a WWE world where they're trying to make this a Democrat issue, that the Democrats are the ones that care about this and not you. And if you care about this, you're a Democrat and you're not a Trumper. That's what they're trying to do, and brainwash these, already brainwashed people who don't have a lot of brain to wash, right? So this is how bad shit has gotten. Like, this is where this guy could just come out and say that shit. Trump has showed no concern about any of the people involved, and he's the person that the victims think is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. He gave her she went from a very minimum security, rich people federal prison to an even lesser camp type situation, which sex offenders are not supposed to go to. And she's already got some benefit for coming out and talking about how Trump was such a gentleman in that weird fucking interview. And so this is just a flat out lie. And so in terms of the FBI informant, the guy who charged, the guy who prosecuted Epstein, Costa, he was Trump's HUD secretary of housing or whatever it was. And he was pressured to give this guy an incredible deal that not only exonerated Jeffrey Epstein and gave him 12 hours of work release, but made it so that all of Jeffrey Epstein's accomplices couldn't be tried either. It was an unbelievable deal. And this guy worked for Trump, And all, I mean, it's just silly to say that Trump was an FBI informant when the government officials were trying to close this thing down. I think Trump went to the FBI and said, hey, and Trump's never said anything like that, right? Is Trump's going to come out and say he was an FBI informant? He ratted out his buddy, Jeffrey Epstein. But now he's, really helping out Ghislaine Maxwell. It's just silly. But, these Trumpers will fucking believe anything because the world is fucked and these people are all on the idiocracy path. Okay. So for those of you who want to spend your hype currency, like YouTube has now created a hype currency where, people get to hype videos. And it's, they want more audience engagement and people participation and feeling like your vote matters, right? And so a lot of people said they used their hype currency on a couple of my videos, which, got less views than other videos. I'm going to look at them right now. Here. I don't know what it is. Got some kind of thing going on there. So the videos, my videos have been, down to 2,000 a month, 2,000 a view. And now they're slipped under that. So they're just going down every month. So they've been going down for a while. It was up at 6,000, 7,000. Views are more important than subscribers. And, I went back where I was getting 15,000 views per video. And so, it's just dwindled. And I'm not sure why that is. And so, I've changed some of the tone of my videos. Some of it might be the videos themselves. Some of it might be Trumpers, whatever it might be. I've been more blunt and brutal about these things. But these videos got 1,600 views, 2,000 views, 1,700 views. And then before the hype thing started, the videos got 2,000, 2,500, and 2,800, 2,700, 2,200, 2,200, 2,500. And then up from there, there's one that had 3,000. And, that is whatever it is. But, if you want to spend your hype currency on this channel, which, many people say they do, next month I'll pick out like a video that I think is particularly good or better or needs to get out there. And I'll want it, and I'll suggest everybody who wants to hype the shit out of it can smash the shit out of that hype button. Spend all your hype currency on a specific video and see if it does anything. I'll do it with more consciousness than I did this other stuff. I got a little meme to put up and all these things that I was going to put up on every video, but then I didn't realize your hype currency was limited. I got a number of comments that said my last video or my last two videos, there was no hype button at all. And so I don't know if those people had spent their hype currency. I don't see a hype button. I don't get it. I don't get a hype button. And so I looked at various, most of the stuff I watch is, mainstream crap, CNN and MSNBC and some of these other channels that are well above 500,000 subscribers. And so they wouldn't get a hype button. So I looked at, my videos and I couldn't find a hype button on any of them. I used a different account, but one that was still associated with my email. And then I went on my other one that isn't associated with that email, my other browser, which was my other, backup channel. And then I looked at channels that people who left comments. I looked at some of you guys' channels that had small videos that were put up recently, and there's no hype button for that either. So I can't see a hype button. People are saying it's a beta program. It's something that they're testing. So whatever. But, I'm not as enthusiastic about it as I was before because I think it's just bullshit like the rest of it. So that's the hype thing. The other piece is one of my viewers sent me an article from 2023 saying that the merch company I'm using, don't buy my merch, which, nobody is anyway. But I got to switch out. It's a whole fucking thing I got to deal with now. So they were supposed to deposit all the money that I had made from the merch. It was like $1,800. And they said that check in a few days. And I didn't check in a few days because I'm like that. And that was like 5 months ago. But then I checked again and found that I hadn't received the payment from Spring, Teespring and now Spring.com. And then I found out they've been scamming people for a while. And so I'm going to talk about that in a bit. So, the thing that's going to tie all this stuff together, and I was talking about in my last video about Idiocracy. I watched the WWE Netflix special about the new era of WWE post Vince McMahon. And, watching the Vince McMahon, especially to do with not just his fake WWE style assassination attempt, which was so fake and so WWE, and then his WWD inauguration. But, all of it, like just not just to do with the Republicans, it's people are so emotional and they just want to believe what they want to believe, right? Like that's what I'm dealing with here in terms of viewers, and that's what anybody who's really seeking the truth is dealing with out there, is that people are changing their facts to fit the feelings, changing the facts to fit their feelings or their emotions. And so, people just want to see Trump the way they want to see him. They want to see the Democrats the way they want to see them. They want to see the religion the way they want to see it. And if you present them with the truth, it just falls on deaf ears. Deaf ears. It just doesn't. I mean, they're not willing to listen to it. They are doing everything to rearrange the reality in a way that suits their belief system. And that's all that matters. It's what you believe. And people are being told that. This was when they brought in Common Core math. And math is one of the most truthful things out there. Remember Will Smith said that 2 plus 2 doesn't have to equal 4. 2 plus 2 is going to equal what he wants it to equal. This idea that, you can even change math. And they have this Common Core math where, there's a right answer. There's not such a right answer in history. History is subjective. History is whatever, the people who tell the story. It's his story. And it's always the victors that tell the story. And so, we got the victor's side of the story. That's why there was a People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn was a great book because he looked at it from the perspective of the oppressed, the people, the people that got their ass kicked, the people that lose the war, the people that lost the, whatever it is, right? Trump's rewriting history right now because he won. And then when the Democrats win, they'll rewrite history. That's how it works, right? This is, to the victor goes the spoils. And so it's just totally subjective. And almost everything out there is subjective. But math and, real science aren't. And spirituality and God. And God is the most objective thing in the universe. God is truth. And the divine truth is the truth. Like it's the, it's more truthful than anything you'll find on the material plane of existence, right? And so I want to share some clips after I talk about this. So I'm going to show you a few clips from the Netflix documentary after I get through all this stuff. But this documentary spanned the 2025 WWE season and, the things leading up to the WrestleMania, which is a 2-day event in Las Vegas. They had some kind of, the Royal Rumble, which I guess is a thing they do where it's a free-for-all where, they have all these people. And they had YouTubers like Logan Paul and this other dude, and they just beat the shit out of this one guy. Like, it was like, they're, in a way that they're laughing. And this guy, Triple H, who's now the main handler, like he's taken Vince McMahon's spot. His wife, Stephanie, is, she's the favored child and she would do anything for Vince McMahon. And I don't know what her role is. And again, this has ties to our government. Like there's, the McMahon family, Linda McMahon, who's a fucking dope. And she presided over this low vibrational fucking evil, degraded Vince McMahon era of WWE, is now Secretary of Education. So she has access to children. And children are definitely, the people who are most hurt by this WWE fucking bullshit, right? But the energy in the crowds and the way that they are just manipulated, right? So at the end of the thing, it features the two now big celebrity actors in The Rock and John Cena. And both John Cena and The Rock, they love wrestling more than any Hollywood thing they do. I mean, they love it. They just don't, they're addicted to it. And they bring in Travis Scott, the guy who, his concert murdered multiple kids. And I just saw a documentary on Netflix about that. How his, company mishandled this concert he had in his hometown of Houston, and they killed like 8 kids, and many more suffered. It was brutal. I mean, it was a nightmare situation, and he, just fucking low vibrational shit. His rap sucks, and he's one of the villains. Rock is one of the villains. It's about them turning John Cena from a hero into a heel, and all the conversations they have about it. The planning of this thing. And it's all to manipulate the audience. And one guy says, the audience, more than anything else, wants to be surprised. And I don't know why they're surprised, because I stopped watching wrestling when I was a kid. And my friends watched it in college a little bit, so I knew of it. I didn't remember watching very much of it, if at all, but I knew some of the names. But the narratives and these simplistic narratives and the violence and the low vibrational shit that's involved in it. And the audience, it's just a degraded audience that just goes to a low conscious, like caveman level of consciousness. And the stupidity in these storylines and these rants and these fucking guys going up and The Rock loves doing these things, talking to the audience. And he, wants this guy to sell his soul. And they have second generation champions now. Like this guy, Cody Rhodes, his dad was Dusty Rhodes. He was really a good guy, seemed kind of gayish. And now he's the kind of the main baby face. And he does this brutal ladder. He wrestles on these ladders, and he gets, almost looked like he could have got paralyzed. Like they do all these unnecessary kind of things. And, they talked about, one time the wrestlers are sitting around talking about them, they all shit themselves. Because they land and they have this blow to their bodies. And they got to get up and do the rest of the act. And, it's like a bunch of things. So this girl said that she peed herself when she landed, like this thing. Like they're walking around with urine and shit in their fucking tights, and they're wrestling. One girl wrestled, and she's wrestling with a broken arm, and she has to complete the match. Unnecessary stuff and risks they have to take. And the fucking Triple H is like, is everyone okay? I'm like, well, yeah, they're okay this time. One guy, he was pile drived and he broke his neck and he can't wrestle anymore. And he came back to be a manager, and then his partners all turned into heels. And then this guy's family turned on him. This guy who was once, for 10 years, they were beloved, babyface tag team. They were African American. And then he's in Atlanta with his family. His family comes up and shows that it says, these T-shirts say that he and his thing, that his group suck. His family's turned on him. It's some bogus. So the acting's so bad and so fucking stupid. It's so childish. Like when I was a kid, I realized this was full of shit. It's like fucking so low vibrational. I was watching kid TV, and I was like, this stuff sucks. Like, I'm like, why is this so fucking stupid? Like, I was watching TV as a kid. Like the shows, the cartoons, and all this stuff. And I didn't understand it. I was like, how are they even putting this content out? Like, it's so fucking bad, right? Like at some point, I was in my, whatever age I was. This content is really fucking bad. Kid TV is like adult TV, but even stupider. Like it's, kids are just young people. Like you don't have as much experience, but you have an ever-growing mind. And like the dumbing down of kids' television. And then WWE was a part of it, right? Like my friends and I all knew it was fake. And, our region was the Vince McMahon region. Like he was in Connecticut, New York, and that area. And they was wrestling all over the country. I didn't even know it. I thought it was like, United States thing. I didn't know it was regional. But when I was a kid, it was regional. And Vince McMahon figured out, he was a business genius and an evil motherfucker. Like he had these narratives that were so depraved. And so, when I was watching the thing, I'm like, wait, why isn't Vince involved? And I remembered he sexually abused a bunch of the female wrestlers and other women, and all these charges came out and pedo shit, right? So he's another pedo that, another depraved person that Trump was good friends with. And he had to turn it over to his daughter, who is now promoting women wrestlers. The same women wrestlers his dad used to, make come into the casting couch. And, like he wanted his own daughter to pretend that he impregnated her, right? Even though, I mean, she took a big ass to the face. This big Samoan guy put his ass on her face. She was willing to do that, but she wasn't willing to do this other creepy narrative. And so the thing is so depraved. And this guy, Triple H, is now the handler. And he pumps up the wrestlers and tell them how great they are, but they're putting themselves at great physical risk. And, kids are watching this shit, and the kids were crying when John Cena went, over the top. But it's amazing how much they manipulate their audience and how they know how they can pull these strings by doing these remedial plot lines and storylines and how the people react to it and how they're so fucking engaged. There's more energy in a WWE audience than you see. Like, people, are just jumping up and down on their feet and screaming the whole time. Like, they're really into it. I'm like, it's so fucking stupid, right? And so, let me just go show you those clips, and then I want to move on to other stuff here. But it's fucking bad. Like, it's just fucking bad. And, the low level of consciousness, it's, I talked about this in a long narrative, that it's really, at this point for me, it's demotivational. Like, every species, this is something I want to say in this, every species is petitioning for their continued survival. There's more animals that are extinct on planet Earth than there are the many creatures that we have. There's more that are extinct than there are creatures right now. Many times more. There's been all these creatures that lived, and evolution just, not Darwin's evolution, but spiritual evolution and the need of the time. There's creatures that just don't exist anymore. There's species that don't exist. And if any creature and every species deserve to be extincted, it's us. It's the people, because we have killed so many. We've destroyed so much habitat. We've destroyed so many other creatures, and we've created so much. The part of the Sajmark system is that you're supposed to make the world a better place. And people think about, well, how do you do that? Like, on the material level. How do I make the world a better place on the material level? But one of the ways you make the best way to make the world a better place is what's inside of you and the thoughts that you have. Because human beings have incredible ability to manifest things. And it starts with thoughts. And it starts with your connection to God. And it starts with your inner purity. It starts with what you are on the inside. And that's what the Sajmark system offers in terms of cleaning and transmission to elevate people to a higher level. And so when you change what you are on the inside, and you have, like, if you have hateful thoughts, that hate just pervades the earth. And we have the country hating each other, the Democrats hating the Republicans, and, all these groups of people hating each other, and couples and marriages and families and neighbors, and, all the hatred that's out there. The hate just is infectious. You see the rise of hatred in America because of the divide and conquer policies of the people that control the system. And the anger is another thing, and fear. Fear and anger are natural. Hatred is something else. But fear and anger, when when people indulge in them, and then it just pervades, and then just all the other depravity, all the negativity, all the, you go to these places and they're just fucking gross, right? You go to bars, the low vibrational energy that people are, when they go to a lower level, people have a higher level and a lower level. And when people go to a lower level, that lower energy and vibration is emitted, and people have such more power to affect the environment than any other creature. So human beings are just fucking up the earth, which we kind of know, fucking up, everything on every level, on a spiritual level, on a physical level. And we have incredible spiritual potential. There has been great souls, great human beings that have reached high levels of spirituality. And there's been lower level saints and, just people who are just good people. We all know really good people. We all know some spiritual people, and some of us have been lucky enough to know saints and spiritual masters and people at a higher level. And, there's that. There's that potential inside of us. And so we've been permitted, or we've been given a long leash. But eventually, what we are now, it can't continue. And so right now, everything's being evaluated, like all the time, on a spiritual level. And, because we all have freedom of choice, we all have our path, our evolutionary path. We all have our place in the world. every species, every creature, and some things have to be eradicated. Some things have to be taken out. Like some things are not, they just go extinct. They're written out of the script. And they exist for some period of time, and they no longer exist. And there's a long list of these creatures, and there's even versions of ourselves, the Cro-Magnon and the Neanderthal and these things, which, if that's true, that's true. I don't know if it is. But, there's things that are no longer here, species, in the evolutionary chain, right? And so the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon, the Neanderthal took over from the Cro-Magnon. That's the Darwinian view. I don't believe in Darwin's theory, but, whatever there is, right? And there are higher developed souls that came down and, manipulated the genetics of apes and things and created what we are now. And I've talked about that in many videos. But in all that, there has to be choice points. There has to be, determining decisions that are made, determining moments of truth where people have to choose one thing or another. And right now, we're choosing to go down. I mean, the WWE thing, we live in a WWE world, and, where depravity and just low consciousness and stupid shit rule the day. And just, people expect so little of their view, their life view, and their leaders and their people that present their content, and are so easily manipulated. And it's just all emotion, right? It's all, emotional strings being pulled. I mean, you see this with reality TV and the Kardashians and all this kind of stuff, where people don't care about the truth or don't care about the bigger view or, other people's point of view or the higher nature of something. They want to have an emotional reaction. They want to be stimulated emotionally, and they want to be, pushed in one direction or another and manipulated and, just completely handled, right? People just want to be handled. They don't want to think for themselves. They don't want to embrace the divinity within them. They don't want to rise to a higher level. They don't want to develop good character qualities. They just want to be stimulated in some remedial way, whether it's pornography or video games or something like WWE wrestling or whatever, just dumbed down shit. And they want to react to that along with other people. They want a mob of people to react, to the hatred of Trump or the hatred of Biden or, all these things. They just want to be in a mob of outraged people who are pissed off or hatred or they're angry or they're fearful, and they want to indulge in that. They want to just feel like shit. They want to like fucking be a low life motherfucker. They want to be low consciousness people. And so the writing's on the wall, and there's either going to be a wake up call, and people are going to try to rise up to a higher level. Again, there's going to be massive depopulation. Like, that has to happen. There are a lot of dumb fucks out there that just can't, you're never going to, nothing's going to change as long as there's all these evil people on the top and the dumb fucks on the bottom. Evil on the top and dumb fucks on the bottom. Right? If I had merch, I have to cancel, if I had merch, I would say evil on the top and dumb fucks on the bottom. And that's what's, and the bottom is, 70% of the people or whatever. So, you have to get rid of that. Like, you have to get rid of all the people and all the souls that just can't do it. And when there's, a workable population and there may be people who have higher, aspirations and spiritual tendencies, whatever millions of people there are that have that. And then, maybe you can work with that. I don't know. But either way, right now we're fucked. And as a species, and if you were to, it was today the deadline for the evaluation, we would be extinct, right? If the evaluation was predicated, if the drop dead date was today, it would just say the powers that be would have to. There's no other. The majority of people are just going so far down. We're all going in the wrong direction, but the majority of people are running towards the abyss. It would just be let's start with something else. Like, this species is fucked, and so you can look around and see it, and that's where we're at. And each person has to do their best to elevate. I mean, it's just our duty, our job to do that, to try to elevate ourselves and the people around us in whatever way, not by talking to them or telling them what to do, but through example, and pull up as many people as you can, and hopefully make a case for the species to save. I mean, but it's a hard thing to do when we ourselves don't really believe in it. Like, I just don't believe in humanity. Like, I know that I know the potential's there, but all I see is, people go into a lower level of consciousness. So anyways, let me show you the WWE stuff here, and then I'll whatever. I got a few more things to cover, like the how I got fleeced by these corrupt motherfuckers at Spring T-shirt. I'll show you that, and then maybe a couple other things to show. I don't know. But here's the WWE stuff. Okay, so I wanted to remember this word, kayfabe.
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe. And so it was talked about in the documentary with Vince McMahon, but not here. It's an old term wrestling name. In professional wrestling, the fact or convention of presenting stage performances as genuine or authentic, a masterful job of blending kayfabe and reality. And so this is all about deluding people, right? And, people wanting to be deluded. So I have all these clips, and I want to show you the dumbass fans and how they get sucked into this thing. And it's so depraved and so low vibrational, and this is what people want. There's more enthusiasm for this than you see with, concerts and even real sports. It's like fucking crazy how they work the audience up with this fucking childish manipulation, this kayfabe. And so, let's get into it here. Okay, so this was the final, this was the fourth episode, and it was the end of the fourth episode right before the so-called WrestleMania. And I made these clips close up, some of them more than they should be. So I'm not going to go back and redo them because, just to get the idea of this. It's more the audience reaction here, right? And so the whole thing was about John Cena turning heel. So John Cena came back for this last year, 2025. He's got this big giant bald spot, and he's old, and he's not, I don't know how old he is. Probably in his 40s. He's 48 years old, and these wrestling matches are very physical. And so, like he said in the beginning, when he did one of his signature moves, when he waved the hand in front of his face, it hurts his back. Which, as you get older, especially these guys who beat the shit out of their bodies, because they really, I'll show you some of that. I'm not going in a chronological order here. I'm going to show you different bits of, audience manipulation. And so I watched wrestling, like I said, when I was a kid, and I understand the basic narratives and plots. And wrestlers going from babyface hero to heel villain happens all the time. And betrayal of somebody and hitting them in the back and doing something fucking dastardly has been done so many fucking times, right? This is not a new storyline. And they were going to do something like this, and they had given the audience basically clues to this the whole time, because these guys are going to fight in WrestleMania, and you don't have two baby faces fighting in WrestleMania. So Cody Rhodes is their new star. He's the new, he's going to be the new champion, right? He's their big name. And John Cena had to have his last moment, and they both are baby faces, and they can't have them. They got to have one guy be a villain. It's obvious. That's how it always works. You have to have the audience be rooting for one guy over the other. There has to be this villainous thing, right? And, they made it sound like it was some big, before they rolled this out, they showed how they were communicating with each person and they were having these phone calls, and they made this chart of all the people involved in this plan and how they kept it secret, right? And so the people involved are John Cena, The Rock, Triple H, the guy who's in charge, the president of the whatever it is, and Travis Scott. And I might be missing somebody. And they were the only people who knew this was going to happen. No one else knew. But everyone knew. Fucking they should. And so it's the audience reaction. People are losing their minds over this. And they were talking about manipulating their audience, right? Controlling their audience. And these guys are cheering John Cena. It's his last. He's going to have one more big moment in WrestleMania. So this is his second to last performance. And he comes out and he kicks this dude in the nuts. And, before that, The Rock wanted Cody Rhodes to hit Rock his soul. Like he said, I want your soul. And Cody Rhodes said, I already gave my soul to this ring and this audience, and they all cheer. And John Cena seems to be cheering. And then John Cena and The Rock exchange this evil look, which is so fucking obvious. These things are just so fucking primitive and immature, right? And the acting, and it's so goofy. And then he kicks him in the nuts, and they beat the shit out of him. And he bleeds just like Trump bled, fucking fake blood bullshit thing they do. But Trump's at least was fake. Here they pay you to bleed for real. I can only show you short clips, but because Netflix is so bad on copyright. But it's really about the audience reaction. Like, they're emotionally fucked by this thing. It's like the world has collapsed. And it's like stupid as shit. It's totally predictable. It's totally fake. It's badly executed. And these motherfuckers are so emotional over it. I think it shows you how Trump is able to control his dummies, right?
Oh my God, John, what the hell are you doing? So listen to me.
So they planned this for a long time, and John Cena had to consider his good guy brand. He's a movie star now. He's got, whatever, these different shows he's in. And he had to, he's always been a hero. He's always been a babyface. And so he had to consider this, and he said, he didn't really want to become a heel, this whole thing that they kind of did. And then the extensive storyline, and, that you see these guys controlling it from behind. I'll show you some of that. Triple H, and they're in this thing called the gorilla position, which is this wrestler, Gorilla Monsoon. And they're telling the guys everything to do, right? And so this is heavily scripted, thought out. It's all about audience manipulation. And the announcers are like, why is he doing this? And then people are like, why did he do this? I don't understand. Like, he made this decision, right? Of course, he participated in it, but it's just fucking an act, right? This is a badly acted, a badly performed fucking bullshit sports thing where these guys beat the shit out of themselves for, like, this audience, this remedial audience, right?
Cena with brass knuckles!
Yeah, he's bald as fuck. It's a watch. It's a Rolex watch. The guy says, you can hear the guy, I don't have it here, but you can hear him say, Triple H says it's a Rolex to the guy who's announcing, and Pat McAfee's in there. It's just so fucking goofy.
You see Cody's face? Cody's face,
So Cody's bleeding, so they want to get the blood, right? They want to get the maximum fucking reaction to their audience. They're manipulating their audience with all this lowbrow, low vibrational, emotional bullshit, right?
Watch Travis. Somebody stop this!
You can get irritated by fictional shit you watch on TV. Bad decision making, storylines, plot lines, because they're manipulating your emotions. Like, that's why they use music. That's, all these things I talk about all the time. Movies and TV shows. This is stupid as fuck. Like, it's so fucking transparent. It's just hard to watch. This things they're doing, right? The Rock and John Cena aren't going to really, and Travis Scott aren't going to really beat the shit out of some guy in some evil way. Like, it's scripted and to get an audience reaction, right? It's a storyline. And the audience reaction is fucked. Like nobody saw this coming, and they're like totally shocked, and they can't believe it, and they're blaming these guys for doing evil shit.
This is one of the most disgusting.
Travis Scott is smudging the guy for some reason. With those fucking, whatever those smudge sticks are. It's just fucking so bad.
So we're all the way down to the end. We're going to get
He wants these posers to get this pose here. We're going to see it. And he's directing all this stuff from the gorilla position. So he wants this shot, right? He wants this shot where they're going down the tunnel. He say, let's get the three of them going down the tunnel. This is a classic wrestling shot. Again, I barely watched the thing, and I know these things from being a little kid. These staged moments, right? And fucking their audience is watching this on Netflix. There's people who watch this live and they follow this, and then they watch the documentary on Netflix. So this WrestleMania happened in April 2025 on Netflix. Netflix had a deal with them. And they got two documentaries, one with Vince McMahon, which was definitely heavily edited by Vince McMahon. Like, Troy Aikman said something great. He was interviewed about the Dallas Cowboy documentary, which was quite well done. And he said, well, I don't think it's the definitive, accurate story of that time period, and he meant Jerry Jones. And he said, when one person has editorial control, right? Editorial rights. And Jerry Jones could edit, and, he had editorial control over what went in that documentary. So it's from his point of view, right? Troy Aikman's not a big Jerry Jones fan. He talked about how Jerry Jones himself has said, he was asked about, this thing where the Cowboys are more into building their brand than winning Super Bowls. And he goes, you really can't argue with that because Jerry Jones has said it himself. But the WWE is trying to rebrand themselves after Vince McMahon was busted as a sexual pervert. And so, these horrific videos came out in lawsuit. I mean, he isn't in this thing at all. He's disappeared from this WWE. And they're trying to make it artsy and show you how, like, they put these shows together and how much is behind the scenes. And they're actually talking about manipulating and shocking their audience and how they can get their audience revved up emotionally. And, even after they see how much this is controlled and how fake it is, and how much it's manipulative, these audience members want to be manipulated. Like, they don't go, holy shit, they played me. They're playing upon my lower tendencies, my lower vibrations, my lower emotions. They want to make me feel hatred. They want me to feel anger and disdain and disgust and all these things, right? And they're doing that purposefully to manipulate these emotions and pull darkness out of the fucking audience. They're admitting to it. They're not hiding. It's fucking demonic as shit. And the audience is just buying into it, right? I mean, they're telling you, just like Trump tells them what he's doing to them, and it's so obvious, and they just want it to be done to them. They want to be they want to have the illusion. They want to be deceived.
You get the honest reaction of the audience.
And Travis Scott, who has this crazy audience, there's John Cena's bald spot. Travis Scott has this crazy audience in which people were jumping up and down and suffocated other people, concert goers. And he says he's so addicted to this, he wants to make this his main profession. And John Cena and The Rock, the same way that they get out to give these speeches and have the energy from the audience is so fucked. It's so low vibration. It's so fucking stupid. It's just so fucking stupid, right? It's the R word here.
There was a collective gasp from the audience when they saw Cena's face and his expression change.
That guy's a former heel. He's a real scumbag, just a fucking creepy motherfucker, right? And, the part where his expression changed is such bad acting. It's so fucking, I won't even call it B movie level, like C movie level, just so stupid. Here it is here. Oh, he's got this devil fucking horns here. And so that was, when they see that, right, because there's a big screen. Look at these guys in the fucking audience here. Look at this guys. They're all taping this guy's. Oh, my God, no, this is going to happen. They're all screaming. This guy's, no way he's going to turn heel. There's no way. There's no way. It's so fucking remedial. Like, you want sophisticated storyline where it's subtle and you have to figure things out. And, people who are masterful in creating stories. This is just brute level fucking childish shit, right? Bad acting. The fucking thing with The Rock doing this thing, John Cena's expression. That's fucking shitty acting where the expression goes dark and he does this thing across his face here where he tells him to fucking cut throat right here. Boom. It just, boom, dope, get rid of him. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid, right? And people, have that, right? They have that. The other thing is they when they were manipulating this situation, this was going to be in Toronto, and the Canadian economy is fucking tanked, right? So the Canadian economy is doing shitty. I don't know if it had to do with the tariffs, and they're worried that they're not going to have enough people to go to be in the audience, and so they get The Rock involved. This is part of how this all came together. And The Rock has always wanted to be a part of these things. And so they're working with The Rock to bring out and get as much of this Canadian money from these Canadian dumb fucks who, are struggling economically, but they got to get some of their, Canadian bucks. So they roll out The Rock and these storylines to bring them in. Like it's fucked. Like it's like they're talking about how we better find a way to make sure we fill the seats because we don't want these broke fucks not being able to buy tickets, right? It's just so obscene.
You have to be able to keep secrets, and it's harder to do now than ever.
This is what people care about. Like fucking, they show all these internet reactions to people flipping out over John Cena becoming a heel, right? Like fucking, holy fuck. Okay, so even with me making these very short clips, they're copywriting everything because they suck. Netflix and WWE both suck at copyright. This guy says it's your final year. This is your final year. This is your last performance. Why would you do that? Well, because it's heavily scripted and manipulated, so you guys would have reactions like this. They are pushing for emotional reactions, lowbrow emotional reactions from dumb fucks. This is dumb fuck emotional reaction 101 manipulation.
John Cena turned into the bad guy. John Cena finally turned heel.
They all just want to be involved, man.
They're not being involved. They're being manipulated, right? That one guy was, there's a kid that we saw he was a YouTuber that was in the football game between the Chiefs and the Chargers. Chargers won, which was kind of great. And, YouTube had this on, and they had, YouTube broadcasting team, and they had the sideline reporter be some YouTuber that I think is the same kid. He's going to get annihilated. They're going to beat the shit out of him here before this thing happened. But they just totally beat the shit out of him. You could tell they were into it, like it was planned. Like they made him part of the fucking Royal Rumble, and then they just obliterated him. But he's back, and he's talking about like his voice was there for a second. I missed the full part of that clip, but he was there.
This is one of the most.
I hate them so much. I hate them.
So they like to make kids cry, aka just a la Jimmy Kimmel, making these kids cry, fucking, and they're showing it here. That kid was saying how he hates The Rock and John Cena. So they got Cody Rhodes to bleed. Trump was too much of a pussy to get his ear cut, so they threw that ketchup on Trump. But this is the same kind of thing here, right? So the very next episode, the final episode, the 5th episode, they're going to do the Royal Rumble, but it starts off in Belgium where John Cena makes his first appearance post going heel. Going heel is such a carny term, right? This is Carnival Barker, this kind of old time scam, scam the people, snake oil salesman bullshit. It's all Trump stuff, right? Calling somebody a rube, right? A mark, a pigeon,
What do we get? John Cena's coming to my town. What do we get?
So he goes to Belgium, and this is the response. These are like French-speaking people, different. I mean, what the fuck, right? There's a global thing that happens now, and they're all into it.
Have earned, and what you have earned is nothing.
So they talked about John Cena being, saving a whole era of the WWE and bringing in a new generation, a hip-hoppy, different way he dressed. He's weird looking, he seems very effeminate, sort of gayish, I don't know. But he brought in a new generation, and he had all these, I can't feel my face. He had his own, all these things that he rolled out. And he was celebrated worldwide, and certainly in America, as one of the key baby faces, the key heroes, then had, transitioned this into a successful movie career. And, well-liked. He's got the Tom Hanks, Will Smith, Ellen likability thing. He's given the likability narrative, and they switch it up, right? So he's built up all this capital of likability with these people, and he's loved in the wrestling industry. He's going on a farewell tour, and they flip the script I mean, literally a script. And they've told you what a great guy this guy is for years. And they're like, no, this guy's a fucking heel. And immediately everyone starts booing. They turn on him. Like, this is how easy the audience is manipulated, right? How easily they can turn on you. I mean, this happened a little bit with Trump with his, I mean, eventually they can just go. And Trump definitely has cultivated the WWE style audience. But it shows you how stupid these motherfuckers are, these people, these fucking crowd people, right? It's just so bad. So this guy, Roman Reigns, is a wrestling name I kind of knew. This guy's his cousin. And he's gaining popularity. He's got this whole dance thing he does. It's just a simple R movement. This is like the Royal Rumble. So this is back episode 2, I think it is. And I'm not going in the order of all these things happening, but I want to show you these things here. So it starts off with this guy coming out, and look at the fucking fans going, like, it's something different. So I forget what this is called. This is the episode before this is the third episode. And it's after the Royal Rumble, and this is another cage, kind of a cage match that they had. And it's between this guy, CD Punk. CT Punk, I don't know, something Punk. CM Punk. And he's like a 40-year-old something guy. He's actually 46. I came within 1 year. And he went to do some UFC thing. He got his ass kicked because he doesn't have any skills, right? And he's actually kind of punky. He's got a bad attitude. I didn't know him before, but I knew of him. And I saw the, I don't watch UFC, but I saw him get his ass kicked because I thought it'd be interesting to see some guy in pro wrestling try to, but he's making a comeback, and he had problems with Triple H, and they kind of worked it out. And then there's Roman Reigns, who I recognize that name. He had been a champion for a long time, and now he's not. And now he's been eclipsed by this other guy we saw, that blonde dude. And the other guy, I can't remember his name. I just watched it last night. But he was somebody who trained for free under CM Punk. And this guy, this manager guy who's hitting Roman Reigns in the balls is a big-time manager who was associated with Roman Reigns. But he was supposedly, in the storyline, best friends with CM Punk. And CM Punk says, he owes him a favor. And CM Punk says, I want you to be in my corner. So there's this moment where all three wrestlers are down, right? They're all laying on the ground, which is a fucking constant thing we see. We're all, one guy hits the other guy, but he collapses right after he hits the other guy. Like, he doesn't get hit, but he collapses. So all three guys are down. And it's the moment of truth. Which guy is this manager going to help? And so he has a chair, and he gives it to CM Punk. But then he comes around, and he takes his arm and whacks CM Punk's balls, knocking him completely unconscious and out of the fucking thing. And then he gives the chair to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns thinks he's going to be backed by his manager. And his manager fucking completely fucks him up and hits him in his nuts. And he now is going with the young guy. And this is a very typical storyline. There's a lot of betrayal, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of shit like that. And they built this moment up already before the thing. It's not something sophisticated. It's nothing new in the UFC, the WWE. And yet the audience fucking eats it up, right?
Into the cover. That was fucking madman. That was awesome.
So there's two things that they're trying to push in this documentary. One, that there's a lot, they want to get you behind the scenes and see how complex it is and how they have to, manage the wrestlers. They have a mic going to the refs, and the refs tell the refs check in on the wrestlers to make sure they're not fucking hurt, or whatever, and also tell them, hey, you're running out of time, and you got to cut this scripted piece out or this. They got this whole thing. So they want to show you how sophisticated it is, and they also want to show you, where we'll show you in a bit, how much they beat the shit out of each, how much pain they endure, and I'll talk about that later. But, here's the part about them, showing how sophisticated it's like this is some masterful fucking script, right? It's something they've done already multiple times.
Because there's no doubt this is what God wanted me to do with my life.
So this creepy motherfucker used to be a heel, and now he wrote this script, and they're all congratulating him. The guy the young guy who wins, and he's been promoted now. He's his girlfriend says, "Oh my God, that blew me away." She's also a wrestler, and it's not anything like I mean, I barely watched the thing. I mean, I watched it when I was a kid, and I haven't watched it in years. And I understand these plot lines. Like they're the same fucking plot lines they used when I was a kid. They're nothing new, and they're poorly done, right? This guy's bringing God into it, and there's nothing, I mean, if this is like war, there's a quote from some famous person: "War is the absence of God," and God's in everything and God's everywhere, but sometimes it's harder to feel God's presence. And the WWE is one of those places where it's so low vibrational that God isn't really, it's hard to feel God, right?
You got many ideas I get from him. He really likes wrestling.
Holy fuck. Then he doubles down. So he says how much ideas he gets from God. And he's going to say it again. He says that he's too stupid to think this stuff up for himself. And only God could channel this stuff, and God must really love wrestling. So first he said, the channeling part. He said that God decided that they're in this, this three-way match that they have. An old guy, a guy who's recently been the champion, and a young guy coming up. And this manager, this fat, and he's a real-life manager who comes in, I mean, just walks like an, idiot, like he's a total piece of shit, right? And he thinks that God wanted, God's idea was that this manager takes his arm and rams it up two guys' nuts and betrays both of them and promotes this other guy who's kind of demonic and whatever. That God must really love wrestling, and God would give him these ideas. If you're channeling this shit, and I don't know why you need to, because I barely, know anything about the thing, and I could have wrote this. It's a boilerplate template of shit they do all the time, right? Depraved fucking backstabbing bullshit. They set this whole match around this manager because earlier on, in an earlier show, CM Punk steals the manager from the other guy. And so this is the storyline. So this is, it's not sophisticated. This guy's saying he must only God could give him this fucking idea because nobody else could possibly think about some brilliant fucking remedial fucking storyline like this one.
Somebody puts that shit in my head.
Somebody, but it ain't fucking God, bro. God is the God don't fucking love this depraved, low vibrational. I mean, it's just so fucking. They knock the ref out of the ring, so there's no ref, and Cody Rhodes gets John Cena and pins him, and the audience is counting up to 10, but there's no one to count, so they know he's already won. And it's a way that they can give both people a victory. But they have to let John Cena win. You knew he was going to win because he's, been a big popular figure for 20-something years. But he's turned into a heel, so it's a whole thing, right? And now they have to work Cody Rhodes back some path to where he wins the championship back at next WrestleMania or whatever their storyline is, or earlier than that, whenever they decide to do that, right? But this is a whole thing that they set up. And John Cena has to go out on a winning note, but he cheats. Like he is going to hit the guy with the belt, but Cody Rhodes takes the belt away from him. But Cody Rhodes won't reduce himself to that fucking level of scumbaggery, but somehow John Cena gets the thing back, and he does. And so, like, the audience is fucking, oh my God, I can't believe the bad guy won. Even though they've rooted for John Cena as a good guy for years, because they're so simple fucking minded. I don't even want to say simple minded, because simple is good. This is a complexity of depravity and just, but remedial, low IQ, double-digit IQ shit, right? It's the primal, but not even like, instinctual. It's not like a natural thing. The primal hatred and just lowbrow shit, low vibrational shit that people, exhibit. So that was how the Royal Rumble ended.
You win the day, things
So this is this guy Kittle. Jeez, I can't remember his first name. But he plays tight end for the 49ers, and they had a game in Mexico, and he really likes Mexican wrestling, you know, the whole thing where they wear the mask. He's really into wrestling. But, you know, like, he's dumbfounded. They're all shocked. I mean, the audience. And it's like, fucking, yeah, of course this was going to happen. And, you know, I mean, it isn't like this was a guarantee it would happen, but there's, like, various possibilities they'd go one way or another, and none of them are shocking. Like, it's all scripted, it's all manipulative. It's all been done so many times before. This is like the 50th edition of the fucking WrestleMania, whatever it is, right? And these storylines have been done over and over again. And they're fucking stupid-ass storylines, and these people, like, oh my God, the fucking reaction of them. I mean, it's just, it's like, you know, I somehow always get, I don't want to say shocked, but I feel like I understand things pretty well. And I've been covering these things and diving into it for a long time. I mean, not WWE, all of it. But, you know, people's ability to take the low road and the low path, it just keeps on coming up for me. And it's always a little, I go, really? Fucking no way. Like this, I mean, it's amazing what people will do and how low they will go. I mean, it's fucking crazy. It's bad. That's fucking bad, right? It's always way worse than I thought. Way dumber, way fucking low vibrational, way fucking everything bad, you know? This Trump thing and everything that's happening right now, you know, it's not a surprise, but it is shocking at how bad it is. It's always worse than I can anticipate. You know, I give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, I have a higher opinion of humanity than actually, you know, I mean, not that there isn't great people, but you know, the majority of people, this is the fucking low-level consciousness, and they just want low-level shit, right?
Let's go check on him. The human body
is not supposed to endure that. Yeah, like, because they don't. So this is some other fucking match, some grudge match they had before the Royal Rumble. And it's some contrived thing that Cody Rhodes' former partner feels betrayed, and Cody Rhodes fully fucking beat his ass, right? And some other, you know, in a scripted fucking win. But the guy comes in and hits Cody Rhodes with a chair and takes the belt. And it's just legal. Like, now he has the belt. So they put the belt up on these ladders, right? Well, first, Cody Rhodes, they show him out talking to people and how a nice guy he is and how he, you know, really is kind to the fans. He's wearing one of those neck collars like people put on when they're trying to get fucking whiplash money from the insurance company. You know, I was in Virgin Islands, and the Virgin Islands was so corrupt. And, you know, it's a you know, beautiful beaches. I was on St. Thomas's. But they have a mountain, you know, a volcano where the island came from. And there's a lot of hills. And most of the cars are standard cars. You know, they're not automatic transmission. And so they had insurance companies there, and some guy was telling me that, you know, people would come up and some of these mountain roads where they'd have a stop sign. You're going up the mountain and you're on a stop sign on the hill. And they'd come up and put their car a millimeter away from your car. So when you press the clutch in and your car rolled back for a second, you know, very gently before it, you know, before the your first gear caught on and you start going, you know, forward, you would ting their bumper and they would claim whiplash. And he said, you'd drive around the island and all the people on the island were wearing these fucking neck braces because they're all trying to scam the insurance company and all the insurance companies. And all the insurance companies said, fuck that, and pulled out, right? So Cody Rhodes is wearing this kind of a brace, and he's taking pictures with fans, and the fans go, how's your neck? like, you know, it's not fucking really hurt, right? And so the guy knocks Cody Rhodes out and just takes the belt, and they're like, well, I guess you guys have equal, even though Cody Rhodes won the belt fair and square in the ring, they just say, all right, now you guys both have a claim to the belt. And so they do these wrestling fucking things where there's a ladder, this event, you know, before the Royal Rumble, where they have to go up and grab the belt before they get pulled off the ladder, right? And, you know, bad things are happening because they have multiple ladders. They're hitting each other with ladders and falling on ladders. And so they do this stunt, And the guy later comes up and apologizes to Cody Rhodes, the guy he's wrestling. And he said, they didn't put the ladder in right, and I was trying to aim you, so but you hit your neck, and I was worried you broke your fucking neck. And Cody Rhodes, I mean, it was fucking brutal. It was a brutal flip. And they, they're pushing this out there like, yeah, this is fake, but these guys are getting hurt all the time. And Cody Rhodes is like fucked up they're both fucked up. Like the other guy's bleeding and they're fucking falling on ladders for fucking 20 minutes. Right? It's just fucking this stupid stuff where, they try to do these sophisticated stunts and it doesn't need to be that. And the audience should probably be a little concerned. This part of the other documentary, Vince McMahon was talking about CTE, and so many of these guys were getting CTE, like football players, because they were fucking hitting each other in the head with fucking chairs, right? And these guys are getting hurt all the time. And this guy, Triple H, is like, is he okay? I'm like, fucking, you don't give a shit if he's okay or not, right? You're putting these people in harm's way. I mean, there's a girl and I'm not even covering the girl part, and there's this one girl that looks like a dude from Australia, and she has panic attacks, but she's one of these goths, and she's all fucked up. And there's another girl, an African-American girl, who has a long ponytail, like Cardi B kind of thing. And she's like a Kardashian-type person. And she whips people with her tail, with her ponytail. And she says people think that there's sound effects. You know what? I'll go grab that clip. And she says there's sound effects, but it's actually, they put like a whip, it's like a whip, and it makes a whip-like sound when it hits. And this girl has this monster welt after the match from the other girl's hair whip, and they're like friends and they're talking about it, right? Like the other girl warned her that this thing is going to be extra fucking spicy because she was doing something to make it even have a louder sound. She has this monster welt, and it's totally unnecessary. Like they're just, a lot of this is just so that they show you that these guys are real athletes and they're really, suffering and there's real pain involved, and it's fucking unnecessary. A lot of unnecessary risk. I mean, for just lowbrow shit, right? I'm surprised there isn't more deaths and people being crippled. But either way, these people are going to be wrecked their whole lives physically.
He's not a competitor. He is a social media.
So Logan Paul is a part of this whole thing, and I don't, that just speaks for itself. But this guy, they bring in as a guy who's supposed to promote this. He's a guy who's got 7 million followers on YouTube, and I guess he's big into wrestling. And they decide to conclude him, but then they just beat the shit out of him purposefully.
Speed! What? Speed! What? You're in the Rumble.
So he has this fucking moment here, right? But then they just take him out. Oh my God! Now the guy didn't have to hit him that hard. You didn't have to, it's purposeful. So I'm going to show you that again. They cut back to Triple H, and he's smiling. He's laughing. And they didn't need to hit that guy that hard. I mean, that's fucking, they're trying to get this guy, right?
Break your speed in half! Let me know if he's okay.
It's a real scummy thing to do. Because, they knew they were going to fuck this guy, right? They knew that they were going to fucking annihilate him. And so, he's a fraction of the guy's size who hit him, and the guy blindsided him. This is like a linebacker getting a free shot at a civilian and going in at full speed and fucking delivering a tackle. The guy's already hurt, and then they slam him again twice here.
Got creamed. I hope he's all right.
You lying piece of shit. You were just laughing about it. You clearly set him up. You didn't say, hey, take it easy on the guy. He weighs like 120 pounds. You weigh like fucking 220. And you blindsided him. I mean, you could have fucking seriously injured the fucking guy, right? I hope he's all right. Fuck you. That's Triple H, right? This just fucking lying and pretending. You wanted this guy hurt.
He's eliminated now.
You shouldn't me? He's still alive. He's eliminated? Okay, yeah, he's eliminated. They didn't have to do that either, right? The guy's already fucked up.
Speed is okay. Sir, are you okay? No, he's not okay.
Yeah, he's definitely not okay. Look at the fucking guy, right?
Oh my God.
Come on in.
So the guy lost a big chunk of his skin, is tore off there. I don't know if you got to see it. And then he just limps back in the locker room. He's like fucking concussed. He's out of it. He walks right by Triple H. Triple H doesn't say shit to him. And they did this guy up. Like, they didn't have to do any of those things. I mean, this guy wasn't prepared for any of that shit. And it shows you that it's like the violence pornography of this fucking thing. Like, they're just so violent and it's like pornographic. So this guy's Johnny Uso or something like that. I don't know. Fucking, he's the guy they're trying to promote, and the crowd fucking loves him. And they all have these special dances. This guy's, these remedial dances, remedial signature moves. And this guy's to raise his arms and lift them back and forth. It's, and these name. And so the crowd just imitates like it's monkey see, monkey do. So everybody loves this guy, right? Everybody. It's 100% positive. Everyone in the audience loves this guy. There's not one person who dislikes him. Not one person doesn't like something about him. Every one of these people is getting up and putting their hands up in the air, doing this Uso dance, which they've been trained to do, like fucking trained monkeys. They're not choosing who they like and who they don't like. They're told who to like and who not. These narratives are set up. Sometimes a crowd goes its own way, but they go their own way as a crowd, not as individuals, not as individual preferences. They just go along. Oh, they're all doing this. I'm going to do it too. I don't know. Why are you doing it? I don't know. Why are you doing it? I don't know. He's doing it. Like it's just fucking, it's everything that's wrong with people. Because we don't copy people who are doing great things. People don't copy higher developed shit. People don't copy saintly people or good people or generous people or, caring, kind people. Like that shit isn't contagious, but this stupid ass shit is. Right? These stupid ass dances. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this one up here. I want to cover my getting screwed over by the merch company. And I want to lead the video with it, and I didn't think this would go this long. And this is Sunday. It's already 3 o'clock. I got shit to do. And, it's just better if I cover that tomorrow. But I'm going to reference this video because the two things go hand in hand. And I'm going to talk about this quite, often in the next couple of weeks until I forget about it. And I don't know if I will because this explains how dumb fucking people are. I mean, it's way worse than I thought. Like I've been saying dumb fucks for a while. But how manipulable they are and how they want to be manipulative and they want to be manipulated and they want to be, lied to. They want to feel low grade emotions, low vibrational shit. They want to feel hatred and anger. They'll be worked up into a frenzy like a crowd, a mob. And they just, fall prey to these evil motherfuckers because this is all evil shit, right? And it's just violent. It's like violence porn, unnecessary violence. It's, it's all the low qualities are demonstrated. Like the heroes aren't heroes. The good guys aren't good guys. It's a horrible influence on kids and future generation. It has been forever. And it's got all this depravity and stupidity and just, low vibrational shit surrounding it. It's just the fucking worst, right? And, here's John Cena. This is 2 days ago, what I just showed you, that last clip. This was episode 2, not 2 days ago. And, at episode 5, he goes south and episode 4, he's at the end of episode 4, he pulled that shit that he did with becoming a heel. Or they scripted that. And so it shows you how much they're cheering him when he comes into the Royal Rumble, which he almost wins, right? He comes in second, and, it's so goofy. It's so shitty. And he's old as fuck. He's got a bald spot. But, they were cheering him. He was the hero, and then, so many days later, they're booing him, like he's turned. It's this whole thing. It's just silly. And, the willfully being stupid, the willfully being low consciousness, willing yourself to be so much less than you could be. You have so much potential as a person, as a human being, and you're just settling for this fucking bullshit. And not settling for it, you're wallowing in it, right? You're wallowing in the stupidity and the idiocracy. And, it's just, like I said, it's just up there. It explains everything that's happening with Trump and everything that's happening in the world on both sides because people are just, willfully stupid. Anyways, let me wrap this one up here. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paramount, definitely poised for the apocalypse. And the ascension, everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.